Within 4 months, this second campaign in the same riding.
Yeah.
What's different this time around?
This time around, I'm getting a lot more of a positive response, which is different than the by-election. I think a lot of people didn't know that the by-election was happening. But what I'm hearing at the doors now is anybody but the Liberals or anybody but the Conservatives, which is a good sign because that means that people actually want a change and they're seeing that change in me.
So that's specifically for the riding that you are vying to represent, Cloverdale, Langley City.
Yeah.
We are also looking at the national polling numbers, and the numbers are not looking that great for the NDP, with the former leader of the NDP, Tom Mulcair, even suggesting that the party could lose its official party status. So is that a concern within the NDP camps, and what do you have to say about that?
No, it's not, because polling is so inaccurate where even though it shows that, anything can still happen. And I'm not worried for the NDP, and I know other folks aren't worried as well, especially Jagmeet Singh. None of us are worried that we're going to be wiped off. I know a lot of people have been saying that this is going to be the last run for the NDP, but I don't think that that's the truth.
Do you think that your party, the NDP, waited a little too long for the election? Because in that process of keeping the Liberals afloat last year, the NDP possibly has hemorrhaged some of its supporter base, and now they're gravitating towards the Liberals. So do you think the right time to call an election or to have the government fail in the House of Commons on a confidence vote was sometime late last year?
No, I don't think so, because this entire time we've been saying that we were ready to go for an election, and in order for us to pass pharmacare and dental care, and with the pharmacare including free birth control and better prices and free insulin and diabetes medication, where we needed to work with the Liberals in order to get that passed. And that's, I think a lot of people don't know, that is that when in writing that coalition, the only way that we could get those things passed was to do that. So if we had not and pulled away from the Liberals sooner on, then we wouldn't have gotten the dental care or the proper pharmacare. So I think you have to look at it from that side, is like, look at how much that we've gained for the everyday working people, and then look at the other parties and what have they given you.
For the residents of Cloverdale, Langley City who are listening right now, I think it's also important that we talk about your experience so far, you getting into active politics. So if I may ask you, that before getting into politics or becoming a candidate, what's your background prior? You come from a union background, don't you?
I do. So I am one of the equity VPs for the Canadian Labour Congress. So I represent the Workers of Colour Working Group, which essentially is representing every single coloured worker in Canada that's unionized and affiliated with the Canadian Labour Congress, which is about 85 to 90% of all the unions across the country. So from that and doing that, I have experience in writing policies. I have experience of talking to people and figuring out what the solution is, depending on what the problem is. And because I have that union background and already that advocacy work done, it's given me a good platform to start in politics.
And that background is also the reason that why you chose to run for the NDP?
Part of it, yes, definitely. That is part of the reason why I chose to run with the NDP. The other part of it is, most people know this, I know you know this by now as well, is that I did lose my mom, and she was a very large NDP supporter and a very large Jagmeet Singh supporter as well. So it's a little bit of the union and a lot to do with her. And with the nice part about that is, in doing so, I've been able to advocate for her and for mental health. And that was very exciting, because the new Patello Bridge that's being built is going to get 10 crisis hotlines on the phone, on the bridge, and also bridge guards and proper signage and lighting, which is huge because it's never really been looked at in regards to build when new bridges are being built, and now that's something that's being considered.
What specifically do you think it's the people of Langley, Cloverdale, Langley City, because that's a growing riding. There's a lot of growth happening in the region. And when we talk about infrastructure and the things needed for a particular community, we tend to look towards the municipalities and the provincial government, and which is true. They are the ones primarily responsible for directly building that infrastructure. But as a potential federal representative, what is it that you reckon that you need to bring for Cloverdale, Langley City once and if you become the voice at the federal level for the residents of that area?
Affordability. That is the number one thing that I'm hearing from anybody or everybody, is affordability across the board, whether it's housing, food security, transit, affordability is what needs to come. Because like you said, Cloverdale and Langley City is growing. Surrey is going to be the next Vancouver in the next 5 years. So it's great that the new SkyTrain is going through Cloverdale and Langley City, which is awesome because that's expanding the transportation. And we all know that transit is an affordable way to get around. And aside from that, we need more affordable homes, which luckily there is a lot of crown land that's not being utilized that can be utilized to build affordable homes. And I know that there's also local developers that are also working on affordability projects and senior home projects, which is also what we need. So by making these connections with folks that are already doing projects like this in the community, then I can help advance that, right? I can push for federal funding for that. I can support them in that because it's good work that's going into the community. And especially with our farmers and everything to do with food security. Like I was speaking with somebody from the BC Salmon Association, and they were saying that it doesn't matter. Farming is farming. It doesn't matter what you're farming and everything that's happening with these tariffs. Like it's going to hit farmers hard. So we need to start protecting our farmers now before they go. And I don't want to see any farms being closed. I don't. Because if we're shopping local, buying local, supporting local, then we need to keep our local farmers afloat too.
A big part of the affordability equation is the economic activity that we can generate in the country.
Yeah.
Where do you think we need to, how do you think we need to work on that so that we can bring more stable and solid jobs into our economy? Because right now, over the last few years, a lot of the criticism has been leveled against different levels of governments for focusing just on wealth redistribution, not on wealth creation. So how do you think we need to create that wealth?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like we can tax the rich, but we can't tax them too much. Otherwise, they're going to take their business elsewhere. So there has to be that happy balance. So where that happy balance comes from is supporting our small businesses. Because we all know that aside from farmers, small businesses are the backbones of our economy. And they are struggling. They are hurting. And most of them are still trying to pay off the debt from COVID, which was 5 years ago. So there needs to be something done for them because the more and more small businesses that close, those are jobs that are lost and good paying jobs. So if we put more support back into them and back into our communities, then they're able to keep the job creation going. Because I've heard from so many folks, it doesn't matter if you're an immigrant or if you were born here, it's hard to find a job. And that's mainly because of what's going on with our economy, like you were saying. So we need to be supporting the businesses that are already going and So I hate hearing small businesses saying that they're struggling. Like I don't want to hear that. I want to walk into a small business and say that they're thriving because the federal government was able to help them.
What's your final pitch to the voters of Cloverdale Langley City? Why should they vote for Vanessa Sharma, the NDP candidate for their riding, on April 28th?
You should vote for me on April 28th because I've already been fighting for you. I've already gone to Ottawa and I've been advocating for you. And by electing me, then I can take that, what I've already been doing, and advocate for you even farther. Because if you look at the past parties, what have the Liberals done for you? What have the Conservatives done for you? They had a chance to make sure that Cloverdale Langley City was in a good affordability place and nobody did anything. Now is the time to change that for someone that's actually fighting for you and that will actually do good work.
Vanessa, thank you for your time and all the very best for the rest of the campaign.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay.